All right, here we are back in the groove, waiting for another roll reveal. Is Dan Mickey Parvez, and this is a 1945D roll, 1945D. And this one had a flag on the tape, so tape will be easy to peel off of this one. I don't like how most people tape their rolls. They don't think about it. They don't leave that little flag on the edge. It's not the prettiest, most beautiful roll I've ever seen in my life, but it could have plenty of good stuff in it. So let's dig in, see what happens. Parvez looking for 1970S small date BU roll. Well, yeah, everybody's looking for 1970S small date BU rolls, brother. They basically don't exist. A full roll of 1970S small dates in BU is going to run you somewhere between $1,200 and $1,500 for one roll. Don't think you'll ever really find them. I've seen one in my entire life. Stonecutter, coin number 1. Let's see what we get. Now, this is a member of that period of time when they were using the shell casing extras that came back from World War II to mint Lincoln cents. So they had traces of saltpeter, gunpowder, other whatever they press into the rounds for the war. And didn't notice it at first, but after the coins age, they start turning orange. And that's what happened with a lot of the 1944 through 1947 Lincoln cents. We call that the shell case era. Not the most beautiful coins, but they are 1945D. I just took the tape off this roll, so I've never seen inside. Mr. Hampton. Paul. Let's see what we got for Mr. Hampton. I turn the light just up just a hair because I was doing those really bright 54S coins and needed to turn the light down so it didn't blind us. These aren't so bright and shiny. Parvez, you still with us? Did you get my message there that you're not likely to ever find a 1970S small date roll? The individual coins generally sell between $30 and $50 a piece. Now, I do have 70S small date Lincoln cents, but they're limited in number. If you would like to discuss ordering one or more, that would be fine. We can talk about that. But I don't have access to a roll unless you want to pay a large amount of money for it. I have found maybe 24 1970S small date cents in my entire life. 24 would be about 24. That's roughly a half of a roll, and most of those have sold through time. Okay. Running a little low on excitement right now. we are not having the most pleasant luck with this roll. So I'm going to press through and see what we can find. There's one for Mickey, and Mickey is here. I did notice something that you had said in another message one time, Parvis, that I meant to address with you, and I had not yet, and I just remembered it. Is that you said that you were looking for 2009 PDS rolls. You'll find 2009 P and D rolls, but the S rolls are quite a bit more expensive and very difficult to find because they are proof. And I don't know that you were talking about trying to get rolls of proof coins, but a 1909 S toner. What'd you do, rob a bank? No. 09S toner is going to be hundreds of dollars, and I don't have one. There's Mark. Mark. Guess what day it is? That's actually Mike. Mike. This one is an RPM right here. It's rather minor, but it does have a split upper serif, which you can see rather well there. Move it over just a little bit, makes it easier to see. You see it right up there. Split upper serif. Nice little addition to Dr. T's collection. Hello, me. Let's see. Zoom back out so we can see what we can see without having it stuck up our nose. There we go. Oh. I'll look for other additional details. Oh, man. Got nothing there. Number 8. IT. Indigenous Treasures. Now, 1945 Denver is known to have double die reverses, so we're going to plug on and continue looking at the reverses for a while to see what we see. It's a spot of something on the reverse there. You're looking for 83 Philadelphia rolls. I do have 83 Philadelphia. Contact me through email. We'll talk about it. I don't have very many, but I do still have some. Sorry about the scratchy throat. Still trying to choke down my coffee for this morning. At least my blood sugar is under control today. That's the important part. had some issues with my blood sugar of late, but it's right around now I seem to have things more or less under control. That's the same die we just looked at. Same die we just looked at. Coin 11 now for Sissy. There's some nice earlier die state stuff going on here. This is an early to mid die state. You can see that the outer edges of these letters have pretty sharp and well-defined outer edges. That is indicative of an earlier die state simply because those molecules of steel on the die tend to chip away. Lake Charles, Louisiana. No, I'm of the Charleston clan. So Charleston, South Carolina. We tend to refer to it as Chucktown. Lake Charles, Louisiana. Where are you from, me? We don't know that much about you. What part of the country do you live in? Here's another one of those little RPMs. Found one initially from Mark. Nice little split upper serif. Continue to look through the obverse on this one, see what we come up with here. A little bit spotty. These rolls in storage, sometimes if they had anything on the coins, they don't store very well. These coins weren't like that when they put them in storage. They're probably nice and shiny when they put them away, and then when they get them out, they notice that their methodology and how they stored the coins was not quite as good as you would think. Looks like we're not going to have any double die reverses this time around. Coin number 14 now. Back to Alex. Let's see what we get for Alex here. It appears to be normal. You were in Chucky Town last week. Or are you headed west? Headed into Texas, are you? Here's another one of our minor little RPMs with a split upper serif. Yeah, if you were on I-10, you went right past Dan in Baton Rouge. You headed towards Frostbite on purpose? You're going the wrong way, man. The Super Bowl's the other direction. This Super Bowl. 59 in, and I've never been to one live. And you know what? At the price tickets are going for, I never will. That's kind of ridiculous, you know. They've actually gone down in price here at the last moment. You can get tickets now in the nosebleed seats way up in the very top of the stadium for a whopping $9,500. Who doesn't want to watch a football game live with the President of the United States and Taylor Swift? Nowlan's a madhouse, man. Don't go to Nowlan's for nothing. If you traveling cross country, stay north of the Pontchartrain. There's another one. Same RPM. Same little die scratch right there running between the 1 and the 9. Been watching that. You was on the phone with your daughter? I hope your daughter's doing well. Now, serious, Eric, you should go change your YouTube name to Urkamath. Urkamath. Sreg. And had to look at that thing a second time just to be sure. I knew I wasn't looking at anything special. Just to be sure. Having a hard time in school, like you and like all your kids? Well, just tell her it's genetic. Not to worry about it. It won't kill you. She can't help it, right? Here's the best thing to tell her. If she's passing her classes, that's good enough, because if you get the degree, it really doesn't matter what your grades were. Because a lawyer with straight C's in college can get the same job as a lawyer who got all straight A's. Oh, this is your 10-year-old, your younger one. Well, I know you can't help her, but if you hire a tutor, they'll help her learn to add and subtract. Wait a minute. No, it's not add and subtract. At 10 years old, she's doing division. Maybe even, they might be doing it these days. I'm not even sure. They might be doing it these days where they're teaching them algebra early. Your 10-year-old. Wow. Well, there you go. There you go, Dan. That's what that beautiful aroma was. It was when me was passing through Red Stick. Yes. It's probably all worn off by now, because he's already on the other side of Lake Charles. Sorry about this. What have I got one more before the break. We're doing one more, I believe, before I break off to have somewhat of a day, and I'll come back. I think I come back at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, so 2 or 3 o'clock, one or the other. Keep moving this thing. I have to put feet on it, so I can't just push it with my fingers. Let's see. Relatively well-struck, decent-looking coins, other than the spots on the few that we do have spots on. Most of them look pretty decent. Eric, that's because you were probably, to some extent, ADHD. And during that period of time, it was still kind of in its infancy of being detected. But a lot of people, ADHD, are very intelligent. So they do very well when in structured things that last an hour or two, but don't do very well at long-term commitment to specific tasks, especially over a lengthy period of time, like an all-day thing, if they're bored with it. So you're probably so intelligent that you entertained yourself at school instead of having the classes entertain you. And you went in and aced the tests because you knew the information, you knew the material, you just didn't do well at sitting still in class. You probably also were somewhat disorganized and, like me, continuously forgot to turn your homework in and turn your project papers and stuff like that in, where a lot of your class grade mattered on those and not the testing itself. It's one of those things where the teacher will make, like a half of your grade is your homework and classwork, and the other half of your grade is testing. And so if you do really, really, really well at testing and you ace all your tests, but you don't do anything else, you'll have a 50% in your class, and that's enough. How do I know all this information? Well, because to some extent I was the same way, having Asperger's. I didn't pay attention very well to planned tasks, calendars, things like that. But if you set a test in front of me and challenge me with it, I'll ace it every time. Well, the problem with the boring classes is typically the energy level of the teachers and the resource level for the teachers. If you give a teacher a job to teach a class and you pay them minimum wage, they have so many worries in their regular life, they're not going to be able to worry about teaching you. Teachers need to be made comfortable so that they're happy, so that they have a better attitude to project toward the students. So if they have a good attitude to project toward the students, then they're much more likely to be able to teach the students. Then we have the problem with resources. They'll hire you to teach a class but not give you anything to teach it with. So I've known for at least 30 years, 40 years now, teachers have been using what little money they do earn to buy supplies for the students because the students don't have enough. So they're attempting to teach but can't do it because, well, they don't have the stuff to teach with. And then the additional problem, especially of late, is parenting. The parents don't teach the kids what they should be teaching them at home, so that when the kids get to school, their teachers are having to teach them basic life skills that their parents should be teaching them, and don't have enough time in the day to focus on math, science, social studies, and things like that. So the teachers spend so much time trying to keep the kids quiet and to discipline them, they don't actually teach the class. Then the kids suffer from that. And then the teachers also suffer because the kids can't do well on standardized testing, which is how the government sees a way of subsidizing the classes. So the teachers don't have the resources to teach the kids don't do well because their parents don't do well. Then the kids go in and can't pass the standardized testing, and it keeps the cycle going because the government doesn't give the school money to help with teaching the kids because the kids aren't doing well enough at testing. So somebody has to break that cycle. Who knows exactly where that cycle needs to be broken, but somebody needs to break the cycle. And this is not based on any parent specifically. It's not based on any particular city, town, or part of the world. This is a worldwide issue that will need to be addressed at some point. That is an old die scratch. I was thinking it might be the top of a D mint mark, but it is an old die scratch, and I could tell that because if you look at the east side of the D, you'll see other die scratches headed out in the same direction. That's just related to that mark above the D. Now, see, another part of the problem in school is that the parents who don't bother raising their children have children that go to school and bully the other children. They bully the other children, and the children who are bullied don't do well in school because they're so worried they're going to get beat up every day or have their lunch money taken or something like that. They're more worried about the other students in class than they are about their own education. And this is because other kids' parents don't do well to raise the children. And those children should not be in the same school as the good children. They should be in some form of reform school, but we can't do that to them because, well, it's not fair. They have a right to be in school. I was pretty much the exact same way as you, Eric. I got mid-C's, sometimes high C's and B's in high school. And then I went to college and was on the president's list. 4.0 is supposed to be the highest grade point average you can have. I graduated college with a 4.3 because of all the extra credit that I earned in classes. I was a non-traditional student. I waited until I was 30 years old to go to college. Holly Rory, how are you doing? Well, I tell you what, I'm going to have to bring you into the moderator world so that we can see that you're part of the family. There we go. So, for those of you who might remember, Holly Rory used to come to us regularly as Marked Money Tech. And she became employed, busy, didn't have time to hop around here very much, so she kind of dropped off the face of the earth because she doesn't contact people regularly like she should. But we're not going to hold that against her, right? So how's the work going? Are you still with Dave? We're just popping through these coins looking for, especially an RPM, a specific RPM that we were finding earlier on. Man, tell you what, I'm not catching anything. This is just my typical day. I was saying something about smoking earlier. For those of you who are young and viral and never went to, I just don't work at the shop anymore. Okay. Yeah, nice early dice date here. Oh, look at that. You got die scratches right out by the rim that are still really sharp. That means this is a relatively early die state. Very sharp details. Unfortunately, you got nothing on this coin that gives us any indication of a die variety. Not a double die reverse. Not a double die obverse, not a repunch mint mark, but we do have a really well struck, very well struck, very early die state, 1945 D Lincoln cent there. Yeah, typically die scratches near the rim, if they're really, really fresh and you've got very sharp details on the coin. Here's the deal with that. Well, very likely, die scratches are generally used to cover up die clashes. Die clashes very rarely happen right at the rim. So if you've got scratches near the rim, you got something else they were trying to clean up, and who knows what that was. But you've got very sharp details on the coin, and you've got very sharp die scratches on those details, then that generally is going to mean that the scratches were probably placed into the die before or at the time the die was employed for use. And if those scratches are not worn down, then your coin was struck not long after the die was employed for use. I was reading Holly's message here. Ah, very nice. Well, I probably should contact you and be in contact with you, but I'm not sure that I have your current email address. So if you'll give me an email real quick at cd@coppercoins.com, I'll reply to you. And we can chitty chat for a bit. Not today. You can send the email today, but today is going to be kind of a busy day for me because during the day I'm going to be working on these reveals. And then this evening I'm going to be busy watching the occurrence of the Philadelphia football team playing against the Kansas City football team. I appreciate that, Holly. Thank you very much. I have heard from a number of people very recently who I had not heard from in a while, and I think a lot of that is a result of this sudden spurt in publishing. Oh, it's my quest to make sure that this continues, that I keep publishing videos. I have other ideas. We've got tons of ideas, but we have other ideas that'll be published in the relatively near future. Love that. Appreciate that very much. Yeah, and something else that you probably don't have the message on because, well, I did it during my lives and I haven't seen you in a while, is that I am working on the publication of another edition of Looking Through Lincoln Cents, which should be out sometime around the end of summer. Oh, yuck. It'll definitely be out before the Christmas season starts. Let's just say that. And it's not the Walmart Christmas season. I mean the real Christmas season. Walmart Christmas season starts on the 4th of July. All right, so we've been through it, and we have this number 18, number 15, number 12, and number 7 are all RPMs for sure. And that goes to Mark, Shiny Coin Guy, Sissy, and Paul Hampton. Nana Stacks, hello. been watching my videos. I appreciate that so much. Nobody's going to bite here. That's for sure. You talk all you want in here. All right. Well, hey, Eric, we just got finished with this reveal. So how about you pop into the next one, 729. We'll be there in just a few minutes to get started again. Well, Rob's Numismatic Archaeology. We may hang out here for just a couple of minutes. We've got Nanostacks and Rob's Numismatic Archaeology here. Rob, I appreciate you showing up. We have another broadcast coming up here in just a few minutes. If you guys want to join that one, we'll have more to talk about. If you take off from here and go back to the main page for Copper Coins on YouTube, you'll find a reveal number 729 coming up. Reveal 729 is going to be a rather simple one. I don't remember exactly. I think it's going to be a 1981D roll. We're looking for 81D RPMs. And so if you pop out of here and pop into 729, I'll be there to join you in just a few minutes, and we'll get to know each other a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and take off of here and come back there. I appreciate it. You guys have a great afternoon. If you don't come back, I'll see you some other time.